So it was 3.5 years ago, and we were in a very similar situation to where we were 2 months ago, trying to find a new property, trying to find a new place for us to grow into for height. And we were looking everywhere we could to find a spot within our zip inside 33432. So we were looking, couldn't really find anything. And there was this one building that's probably a half a mile from us up on Federal Highway, just north of Glades, and it was like all run down, boards are all over it, but it was a big thing, but it was chained up, you couldn't get behind it. So there was one day, I think it was a weekend, I think it was like a Saturday afternoon, I coached the class 10 a.m. and then I closed down the gym and I drove over to that property. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna jump the fence and I'm gonna go around the back to try and see what it looks like. And so I jumped the fence and it really looked like it was, there might have been homeless people living in there. It didn't look like the building was in awful shape. It looked like it hadn't been touched for 10 years. I had contacted some of our members that if they could get in touch with anybody that knew anything about it, and it was owned by some P.O. box somewhere in Boca, and nobody could really find anything. But when I was looking at the building, I was looking at the surrounding areas. There was a car that's like ripped apart in the back of it. And behind the car, there's this high concrete ledge. So I went and I popped my head over the ledge to kind of see what was going on. And I could hear some like noises and laughter and jumping around and rolling around, all these types of things going on. And when I jumped and I poked my head over, there was a bunch of kids over there. There was this big building, and I had never seen this building. I didn't know what it was or even how to get to it. So I got on my phone, I looked at the map, and I saw that you could kind of go through this other community to get to this building, whatever this building might be. So I said, okay. I ran back to the car. I got in the car, and I went around the block to see what this building was. And I pulled into this building, and it kind of, I still didn't really know what it was, but I opened the doors, I walked right in, and it was this school. It looked like a school. It was like a small school, but it had really high ceilings. And I kept walking through. No one really said anything to me. And I walked through, and I found this gymnasium. And inside the gymnasium, there was 50 kids playing basketball of all different races. And maybe they were, 10 years old, something like that. 8 to 12, somewhere in there. And they were all playing basketball, and there was groups of kids hanging out, and there was kids outside, there was kids inside, and I walked through the hallways in a different direction. There were kids walking into classrooms, and it looked like they were running some type of school program. Okay, cool, that was great. That was it. That was all I had to say at the time. That was cool. I didn't know what it was. I didn't look too much further into it. But it was in an area inside of Boca Raton that isn't normal to Boca Raton. Boca Raton is one of the most affluent places in America, and this area definitely isn't that up the street. But I stay in my lane, I do my thing, and we help everyone we can inside of our doors until we got into temperance training, where we started to think, we can do more than help ourselves. So we started to have some outreach. So just with what happened recently with George Floyd and the likes of the protesting going on and the racial inequalities that exist, we're somewhat blinded by that because we think our world's perfect where we are, and we have all sorts of races inside of our walls, and we have all different types of professions inside of our walls, from veterans to police officers to to service workers, social workers, hedge fund managers, business owners. We have everything. And inside of our walls, it doesn't matter who you are, what you do outside. It matters how you carry yourself inside the house, and how you work out, and how you handle yourself with others. So all these things are going on outside the world that we can't really understand. I wrote about that. It just doesn't really make sense to us. But what I've seen is I've seen a lot of people have a lot of opinions, and a lot of people are going to social media to share those opinions. And people are acting by not acting, in a sense of gyms are disaffiliating from CrossFit for some words he said that were insensitive to some. And Others are protesting and walking for racial inequality and how they believe, things should be done. But I really didn't see a lot of action or really trying to speak to others across the table, that there wasn't much listening going on. There was really just yelling and, opinions being spread, but I haven't seen a lot of action. So I had a thought, right when all this stuff happened. I said, you know what? I'm not going to worry about any type of words that I feel I can tell you, or put pictures up and squares and, hashtags. That didn't really change the narrative, because the poor kid down the street is still poor. By me telling you that I'm upset, it doesn't do anything. So I wanted to really show people what was good. So the next day, what I did was, Malcolm and I were standing outside for hours, just talking about how he felt and how we can learn and how we can spread good vibes and start to change the world, one interaction at a time. And as we were standing there, we heard chanting and alarms and horns and all these types of things a couple streets over. So we said, you know what? All right, let's go run over there, see what's going on. I think this is the Black Lives Matter march, the protesting going on. So let's go check it out. So we went over there. We walked with them, and we were listening. It was present. We were at the tail end of the march, and we marched into this community over there that ended at a church. And like I said, it's not your normal faces that you see inside of Boca Raton. We know Boca Raton is a retirement capital, tons of money going on. You can find a $20 million house within a mile of each direction. So you go over to there, it's definitely not that there. And wow, we really are closer to people that might feel different than us, than we thought. We thought everything was perfect and everybody's got money and everybody's doing this, and our memberships are expensive and we're doing just great. But you know what? It's actually closer than you think. That school that I had talked to you about is exactly where that march ended, right next to a community that may feel differently than us. I said, you know what? This is our opportunity to project and give, some of the tools that we've learned, and we know that equality is found inside these doors. Now, it costs money to have equality. Essentially, you need $170 to go ahead and pay a membership. But sometimes people might not have those opportunities to say, okay, what can we do? Can we go to that school over there? You know what? Let's go to that school right now. Let's not talk about disaffiliating and all these words of how upset you are and you're not competing. Oh, that'll really show them. That'll really show the racists out there that you're not competing. That's really important, that you really helped all these people. You should commit your time to not competing and going, and giving some of your funds to somebody else, handing it to them. Don't just donate. Go and do something for someone. So we went over to that school of underprivileged kids that don't have any opportunity after school. They don't have, their parents might be working. They might not have parents at all. That's what this school is for. The Wayne Barton program over there goes and has outreach. They have buses that go and get kids that they bring in after school program for 2 to 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, that they're giving after school studies and programs, sport programs for those that don't have money and don't have the opportunity to do that. So I said, you know what, that's exactly who I want to get in touch with and show how we can help them. So I walked over there, I said, you know what, hey, I'm going to build you guys a gym. We're going to run your program. I don't care if it starts with building it at your place. We'll build it on the side of your, I don't care, we'll pour the concrete, we'll dig the trench that we can be right in there shoulder to shoulder with you. We can get a class a week, just like we did with temperance, and have an outreach to treatment facilities of those that are in addiction recovery. Say, you know what, give them an hour of fitness. Let's show the world that, yeah, you may not have all the opportunities, but there are some people that are out there looking to help. But you've got to be open and be able to convey what you're going through, to allow those that want to help, let them help. So we walked over there right away and we said, you know what, we're going to do this, we're going to figure out. So we're working with them. I would have done it already 2 weeks ago when we went over there, when the protests and the marches were happening. And I would have taken my drills out and start putting a rig up right then and leading class if we could, with the COVID CDC guidelines and everything going on with school. Kids aren't in school. It's really hard to, make things happen at the moment. They get the school in lockdown. I wasn't even allowed to go inside to see the facilities and help. We did what we could, and I think that's the first step is actually leading by action. It's not just words. It's not just hashtags, even just protesting. You might be out there with all the intentions of telling people why you're upset, but you need to dig to find the right people to make moves. And I'm gonna prove to you that we are those people. It's us, I don't know who us is, but hype for us. I don't care what you can call us, whatever you want, but fitness has done a ton for me. I've been in the gym since I was 10 years old. I'm 30 now, so I've been in the gym for 20 years, and it has brought me more opportunities in my lifetime that brought me to have jobs and to work harder and to share good energy and vibes and give others jobs and be able to allow them to create that this is exactly what I want to do for someone that feels that they don't have a chance, or just because their parents don't, they didn't do the work they needed over their lifetime to give the kids the opportunities that they wish they could. You know what? I'm that dude. And we're those people that are going to do that. So that's something that we've been working on in Leading by Action. I haven't been able to come out and say, look at our thing that we built, because, it's still taking time. But that's what we're doing. We're actively going out and showing the world what we can do. So there's that. Also, got a phone call a week ago, messaged, call, whatever, that local brand by the name of Redcon One. Redcon One reached out to me, and they're trying to run a big fundraiser for the Red Wing operation that was Lieutenant Michael Murph. He passed away 15 years ago, June 28th, during the Red Wing operation in overseas, fighting for America. And, he came out, reached out to me, said, look, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to run it at all because of, the COVID-19 pandemic and whatnot, but we're open and we really want to put our best foot forward that the Murph Challenge reached out to them to run it at their gym, and now they're a little bit short-handed, and he had heard through the grapevine that we were the people to contact. He was right. We were open for 1 week after the pandemic, and we put over 250 people through Murph 1 week after a shutdown where we lost 40% of everything we had, basically. And he reached out to us and said, is there anything you can do? I said, well, you might be in luck, because not only do we have now 2 gyms, consumed a third, have 500 square feet at about 6 feet high, full of equipment that we can build you a functional fitness outdoor gym that we can run Murph Challenge on. We can build it for you and do it there with what we have and our expertise. But we have people that support the cause, that we all come together, and whatever we believe is right, we go for. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Murph again at the Murph Challenge, Redcon 1, June 28th at their gym. We're going to help out. We're going to show up. We're going to support their cause. We're going to build their facility, and we're going to help wherever we need it. And this is a veteran. This is to support veterans. So you don't have to have sides. You can do everything. You can do anything. You don't have to have sides at all. There's right and there's wrong. What's right is helping people. That's what we want to do. Helping people helps us. Absolutely. Just by the fact of having the ability to help others, from just working every single day to be able to have the opportunity to help others, is why I do this. And I get satisfaction of that, knowing that someone reached out to me because they knew that we had the ability to do what they needed. And that's who we are, and that's who we're going to continue to be. So those are just 2 examples that I wanted to talk to you about this weekend, that I just want you to go out and help somebody. Doesn't matter what you get back from it, I know we'll get something good back from this. We'll help kids that, later on they might grow up and say, that was the best program. That was the best program I was ever in. I did pull-ups, and I learned how to Olympic lift, and I got stronger, and that'll bring kids more confidence. On the other side, we're going to show some people working out, what our people look like working out for real. And this is our program that we're going to bring to you. And then we're going to go do Murph, and we're going to send it to the moon, just like we always do. Even though we did it 4 weeks ago, we're going to do it again. Throw our vests on in the middle of 100-degree heat, summertime Florida, and we're going to do it outside. we're going to support a great cause. So that is what we have going on. I think the moral of the story for this weekend is just to go out, help somebody. Don't just talk about it, be about it. Go and act. Do something real this next weekend. See if you can go do something for somebody, that might feel some kind of way. And let them feel that way, but also work to change the narrative. Don't just talk about it. Thanks, guys. I'll see you this week.